Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Collider Games. My name is Dennis. I'm here with
Marc Fernandez.
Yeah, and today we're going to talk about a VR game, a VR experience.
Yeah, it's Spider-Man time, dude. Like the Spider-Man movie, we saw it last night. You saw it too, right? So just like a 3-second review of the movie, no spoilers. I loved it. I thought it was great. You know, my buddies told me, "Oh, but you're biased. You're biased. You're biased." I am biased. I friggin' love Spider-Man, and I especially love the MCU's version of Spider-Man and the way that Tom Holland plays him, the way that Watts directs him. This Watts kid is a super talented director. Go check out Spider-Man: Far From Home. It's really cool.
Yeah, and then when you got home last night, you found a little surprise in your HTC Vive.
Yeah, I got home last night. I was going to play a little VR Sports challenge of the basketball game, which I've been obsessed with recently. Awesome. If you like basketball and you want to get that VR vibe in basketball, check that game out. But I got home and I was going to play it, and I fired up my Steam and my Steam VR, and boom, Ninja Drop right there. I hadn't heard anything about it. I mean, have you heard anything about it?
No. I know they had one for Homecoming.
They had one for Homecoming, of course, which you're on the rooftop. Yeah. And it's actually really cool. You get the suitcase, it opens up, the suit is in there, you put it on.
But you're not really slinging or web slinging.
At the very end, you sling on top of a bridge, and Vulture comes. You got to fight Vulture for like 15 seconds, and that's it. You know, so yeah, you're not swinging. It ends, ironically enough, it ends with you swinging through the city through one building, and then that's where it ends. Which kind of now that you bring it up, this is kind of a direct sequel when it comes to the gameplay mechanics. You know, because this one has free roaming web slinging. I mean, that's a big fucking deal. That's a breakthrough moment in the history of gaming, whether it sucks or not. It's the first Spider-Man game in VR where you can web sling in a sandbox open city. That's a big deal.
Yeah, a lot of potential there because it is a free game or experience for people to download it. They're not charging you money. It's also very short.
Very short.
Yeah, I think,
and very low production value.
Yeah. Yeah, like other than I think the suit looks good, but everything else is like the buildings are like paper thin, right?
What did you think of the experience? So you played it, I played it. You played it the whole way through.
Yeah.
Did you play the sandbox mode, the free roam?
I did, but I didn't do any of the time trials or the combat stuff. I was just kind of swinging around the city just to have fun.
And supposedly there's 25 Easter eggs inside the city that I think you need to unlock a suit. So there are 4 suits in the game. You unlock, obviously you get the first one when you start the game, the classic Homecoming suit. You unlock the Spider-Man upgrade suit, which is what they're calling it, which is the black and red one from Far From Home, by playing the story mode.
Yeah. And then what do you think about the nausea factor? Because we all know that VR can induce some kind of dizziness and sickness.
Yeah. So look, for me, that's my biggest thing that I look out for in VR is what's the locomotion. Is it using teleportation? Is it using natural motion? Obviously, if you're fans of games like Pavlov and Onward and certain of the shooters, you also must be able to deal with natural motion. For me, it gets me super motion sickness. And this game that you're literally swinging through the city sounds like a nightmare. Now, there is another game, Marvel Powers United, which we've talked about on this channel, which also has a Spider-Man character and also able to swing around the spaces. And that one kind of basically is kind of like a teleport. It's like you hit something, you go like that, you get the vignette and the wind blur, but you get to the other spot very, very quickly. It's very similar in this game. If you're playing with the vignette on high,
which I did.
Yeah. And with wind motion at room lock, it gives you a lot of wind blur and it gives you the vignette, so it makes the transition easier on the brain and the inner ear from one location to the other. I had to play like that. If I don't play like that, I'm gonna puke. But I gotta say, even though I'm highly susceptible to motion sickness, playing like that was acceptable for me.
Yeah, me as well. Like I got a little after we were done. I was a little like lightheaded or dizzy, but I got more sick off of playing Face Your Fears.
Right.
One, because Josh...
Part two, just for the record.
Mainly because Josh did not put the vignetting on.
Right.
And then you're like climbing and whatnot, and like also the motion like is full on like...
Yeah. That's a cool game too. Face Your Fears 2, scary. It's pretty damn scary. We tried to have Josh play it, but it's not an easy game, right?
No.
Like there's actual challenges, puzzles and
yeah.
stuff. So I don't know how far we got, but look out for that video hopefully in the near future.
Yeah.
But overall, like I'm giddy about the fact that for the first time I saw in real life the open sandbox web slinging. How did that make you feel? Like, I mean, were you into it? Give me a little feedback on. It's a breakthrough moment. Like, how did that breakthrough moment land with you?
I mean, for me, it was all about potential, right? It's all about, okay, this is what they can do if they want to. Right now, I think both from a budget-wise and from technology-wise, they're still not there yet. But this is kind of like the opening salvo to that, because it's like right now there's a decent amount of VR units out in the world, but it's nowhere near like, let's say, consoles, right?
Yeah.
But once you get to closer to that range, then studios are going to put the money into them to create a VR game that is 20 hours, 30 hours.
I can't wait.
And put in the money for the graphics and whatnot. I mean, in this one, they got Tom Holland to do the voice. They got Jacob Batalon to do the voice, and I'm sure that was like
and it has their charm.
Yes,
yeah.
And those are one of those things. Obviously, there's not a lot of voices in there, but because they want to promote the movie, they go ahead and do it. But if you can actually do what they did, let's say for the PS4, that Spider-Man game, put that type of resources into something like this, then you're full on. It's more than just swinging and shooting webs, and think about a story and characters.
And also, where's the melee combat?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where's the melee combat? I think that Spider-Man is a puncher, and he's a kicker, and he's like a gymnast.
Yeah.
That's how he fights. His fighting style is very melee oriented. And ranged. I mean, he's the ultimate weapon in my opinion, because he's strong, he's fast, he's agile. He's 4-dimensional. He can go anywhere he wants. You don't see any of the combat beyond kind of what you get from Marvel Powers United.
Yeah.
Even though Marvel Powers United game on the Oculus Rift, exclusive to Oculus, if you have never played that, and you like Marvel and you like video games and you have a VR system, go buy that thing because it's awesome. It's a lot of fun. But those are little arenas. Those are multiplayer arenas. Yeah. And you get to play like with a ton of different Marvel characters, from the Hulk to Thor to Captain Marvel. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on. And they all have very, very, very unique powers. Awesome game. Now, you combine the graphics of a game like that, which has great graphics, right? The combat mechanics are a little better because you do have melee. You have a combination of melee. You have gadgets. You can throw little spider bombs and stuff like that. And you have decent navigation, and you start combining it with some of the stuff that they're trying in this game.
Yeah.
And like you said, I mean, look, I'm a gamer. I love big, expensive console games, of course. But right now, the two games this year, right? Are we post RDR2?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're post RDR, right? Huh. Red Dead is not a 2019 thing. It's a 2018 thing. Yeah. So in a post RDR world, okay, because Red Dead Redemption was a fucking masterpiece.
Yes.
Vader Immortal VR might be my favorite game I've played this year.
I mean, it's a pretty, like, that's, to me, that's where VR is going. And that's where, like, they took the money, the budget, the talent, right? David S. Goyer writing that thing.
Yeah.
You have
incredible graphics.
Yeah, ILM, X Lab doing it. You're taking those resources and actually, like, imagine them applying that to Spider-Man.
Oh, man.
And then you have like hey, this is a full-on, here, episode 1, like Vader's doing, and like you play a little, like, 45-minute mission with Spider-Man that actually has characters and dialogue.
And you have the open sandbox, and you just keep adding little mini games. But look, we still got that. That's all we have right now. Yeah. You know what I mean? And look, and hopefully they'll look at metrics, and hopefully a lot of people will download it, and they'll get more inspired to do it, because whoever's making those games, this is the second one, because it's obviously very similar to the Homecoming
one,
which you can also download on the Vive on the Steam VR store, also free, much shorter than this one. So with this one, they got a little bit more latitude to do some more stuff. It's just like, God, son, spend the money, man. I want to play it. So look, overall, it's very hard to review this game because I'm super biased. I'm super excited about the breakthrough that's just happened, because it is a breakthrough. So I'm going to give this game a download the fuck right now rating if you have VR.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely, if you have VR, you should definitely download it. I also think, too, that, this probably has been in development for a while now because the movie has been in production. And I think this is, you say like a post-RDR Red Dead Redemption world.
Yeah.
We have to think of a post like Oculus Quest launch world,
yes,
right? And this happened before that, right? So imagine whenever, let's say the next Spider-Man movie comes out in 2 years. The next one is going to be on Quest. It's going to be better. They're going to put more money into it. Who knows? Like people, and they'll see too, people are willing to pay. Like instead of a free one, I wouldn't mind paying $10 for one that they put some time into.
I'll pay $60 if you give me a 40-hour game.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I'll pay $60. Everybody would.
Yeah.
Like why not? Like, look, PS4, Spider-Man. You guys know how I feel about it. If you're a fan of of the channel, I loved the story, but I thought the gameplay was incredibly repetitive. I thought once you saw one vertical slice of the game, you saw the entire game, with the exception of the final battle. Everything's pretty much exactly the same for 40 hours. Even though the story is incredible. The story. Have you played it? No, right?
No, because I don't have a PS4.
Anyway, the story's awesome. It's a really, really, really great story. I paid $60 for that thing. I'll pay $60 for one with lesser graphics but more immersive. Having true interactions with pedestrians. Like in this game, there are pedestrians, but they just stand there. They have no collision. It's just a joke. But anyway, in our weird VR rating of different levels of urgency to download, I say go download this game the fuck right now.
Yeah, especially because the movie's coming out. It'll get you hyped for the movie just to experience that. And like I said, they got the real voices in there that always I don't know, for some reason to me it's like either you go the route of the PS4 Spider-Man game where it's like a totally different world and it's a different story, different canon, so you hire all these different actors that can talk, or if you do something like this that's tied into the movie, getting the real voices instead of some cheap knockoff impression voice is always better.
Yeah. And look, we're getting close to releasing our own VR game, which we've already announced. It's not a secret, Twin Peaks VR. Keep a lookout for that. Hopefully we'll be talking more about that soon.
Yeah, definitely. So make sure you guys subscribe to this channel, youtube.com/Collider Games. Make sure to follow all our reviews, gameplay footage, and tons more VR coverage.
And hit the bell.
Yes.
Hit the bell.